in that talk that got clipped on, there was just a lot of like complaining. Like just complaining and complaining. So by the time I got to the 18th question, I'm like, you guys are so entitled. Imagine horrible things, because horrible things do happen. As we sat here during this podcast, some bad things happen to people that is sad. They lost someone they loved. Like bad stuff. And like, you know, I don't know how not to think about that. Like there's almost 1 billion people on earth that don't have access to clean water. Do you know how insane that is? Like I don't know. I don't know how to unsee that. There's literally 780 million people right now, predominantly in Africa and parts of India and parts of Asia, that literally within a 12-hour window can't get to a cup of fresh water. And then I have to listen to DMs about like why I don't have $1 million.
Yeah.
Like I just don't, like, do you understand that every human being that's in Las Vegas right this minute for this week should fucking kiss the ground and be fucking thankful as fuck? They have nothing to complain about in real 8 billion people in life. But that's not how life works. You live in your little reality, and when shit goes awry within your reality, it's annoying because you have it so good and you haven't contextualized the macro perspective of how remarkable you. There's no human watching this clip right now that doesn't have it awesome.
Yeah.
But many think they have it horrible. And especially with the way mainstream media and content creators on social media are talking, everyone's looking at the downside without looking at the upside.
Imposter syndrome. It's somebody with
AKA the new funny word that we've made it. Imposter syndrome, I'm sorry to interrupt. Imposter syndrome, you mean what we used to call insecurity?
Yeah.
The packaging of insecurity as imposter syndrome has me laughing my ass off, and I'm glad I got to finally address it. I've said it maybe one other place, like, yes, what about insecurity?
I was gonna say in your very like early stages, like YouTube, and you're taking your
Never.
your
not in this game.
work ethic
No.
and putting
Never.
it out there.
Never. Not that. Hitting on girls in high school, yes. I know what insecurity looks like, but not in business.
Okay.
The day I did that first video,
media.
you ready for this? The day I did that first video, in my head, driving home, I said to myself, I'm gonna fucking win this. I'm gonna be known. I'm gonna be the most important in wine business. Literally first one. Because I knew I was gonna grind it. I don't know if I'm gonna buy the New York Jets. You know why? I'm not fully in control. But I know I'm gonna give it a real fucking run.
Right.
You know, if the Johnsons put it up for sale tomorrow, I'm out. I just don't have enough money yet. But if they hold on to it in the range that I think they'll hold on to it, 18, 20, 16, 24 years, I'm in the mix. I believe that to be true.
So you're saying your foundation, your cloth, was built as this world of social media, comments, seeing negativity was there, but like as this stuff transpired and transcended into what is to what?
In high school, no one's opinion or peer pressure even remotely came to penetrate the way I walked around. I think that's the toughest environment.
Yeah.
I didn't know it. This is fun to say as a 48-year-old man. In my late 20s, mid 30s, when I started being like, whoa, I was a weird kid in high school. I was friends with everyone. That was based on me not caring that my cool friends were making fun of me for hanging out with my not cool friends. I didn't care. I wasn't willing to compromise on kindness. In the 90s, in New Jersey, in high school, there was no way to get to the upper echelon of popularity without being a dick face. You had to make fun of people. It just was the currency.
Right.
I wasn't willing to go there. And that.
Where'd you learn that? Like, how'd you have that?
My mom.
Because it's like everybody deals with it. I could even think of myself being like, damn, you see somebody talk shit about how you played in the game. I'm thinking I'm in my 20s at this point. But in high school, that stuff, I'm just trying to imagine somebody that's just uncompromised. I don't even know it.
Yeah,
I'm detached from results, even though I want them. Meaning, when someone says stuff, first of all, there's a lot to it. Let's break it down. Because we're bouncing. People shitting on you in social media should not be met with you being upset for you. It should be met with you being compassionate to them. Do you know how fucking sad a life is that you walk around the internet and make fun of people or try to hurt people because you're in such a bad place? Saying that you guys suck at this podcast is a little endorphin hit for that person for a nanosecond to feel better about how bad they feel about themselves. All they're doing is tearing you down. They're just misery loves company you. I swear to God, every single negative post that I see about me or in the comments, my brain fundamentally only says, man, I hope that person's gonna be okay one day. Not one thing about me. That has nothing to do with me. But there's a key to that. I also don't take in when people give me the flowers. I'm appreciative as fuck.
Live for the cheers, die by the booze type of thing.
Bro, that shit, if we could get the kids, fucking forget the kids, everyone who's watching this, every grown up to understand, if you become susceptible to the fucking cheering, you're dead. Because the booing will kill you. I'm grateful for when people leave goat emojis. I'm fucking, I wish you could see what I felt like with your opening line on the show. It's like, thank you, it's so nice. But I don't think I'm special because you said it. Which means I don't think I'm a piece of shit when you say the return. Mm-hmm. I know who I am, the end. And unless you really, 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 really know me, how the fuck can I even count it? Mm-hmm. Do you know how many famous people that are universally adored are straight pieces of shit?
Oh, and what?
Yeah, you always hear the stories, you never want to meet your heroes.
Right.
It's real talk. It sucks. I mean, currently right this second, universally adored. They're the best. No, they're not. They sure aren't. They do not treat their people well. Everybody that's close to them does not love them. I can go to sleep every night and put my head on a pillow because the more you know me, the more you like me, those are the results I see.
Work-life balance is almost non-existent, but just if you're trying in all phases, you're phenomenal.
I think so. What's work-life balance? Everyone has their own rules. Mm-hmm. Like I have friends that think work-life balance is 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Okay. Like I have other friends that think it's 9 to 7, Monday through Friday. Okay. I have other friends that think it's 9 to 9, Monday through Saturday. Okay. Like as long as the people in your circle are cool with it, like there's all sorts of, there's a cost to everything. There's just real life circumstances. Like the big thing that I focus on is when I talk about shit, I'm not trying to tell everyone that I'm right about what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to convince anyone. I'm trying to share observations with the hope that it helps someone. That's a very different framework. I don't think the thing I talk about is applicable to everyone. That's insane. I just think that I love observing and have been doing it for a long time. I don't even talk from my framework. Most of the stuff that comes out of my mouth is not just me, it's what I've lived in combination to what I've observed for the last 30 years, because that's what I do for a living. I pay attention for a living. That's why I have an advertising firm. Like, I'm interested in the collective, but that will never be the reflection of an individual. Gen Z, when people are like, Gen Z sucks. I'm like, are you a fucking idiot? Do you know how many Gen Z kids I know right now are grinding their asses off and have incredible work ethic? And do you know how many lazy boomers I know? To just blanket paint these observations is wild. Are there rationales to why there's general statements? Sure. Are those things sometimes like pretty close to on the nose? Sure. Like I get it, but like nothing is directly one by one. That goes to one-on-one, you with you. Only you know. And you have to make yourself happy because you can't make anyone else happy unless you're happy. That's real. There is no correlation of hard work to true mental health issues. I think it's been a Band-Aid conversation. Hard work is remarkably enjoyable when you like what you're doing, and it's not when you don't. I think the world in the last 15 years has gotten this thing wrong. From the day I started talking about hustle or hard work, it always was connected directly to having a passion for it. People separated it and tried to weaponize it. And a lot of people have demonized work ethic and hard work without the understanding of the enjoyment. For example, I demonize hard work in the gym. I do not want to do it. Thus I would make fun of it or not like it. And so for me, the thought of working so hard that I would be upset is literally the reverse of how I see it. I see it as I work so hard because I enjoy it. It's my game. I got into all of those hours because I didn't want to stop doing it. Like playing a video game or like reading a book. And so I think the world is very confused. Mental health issues is a very complex issue. It's a word that's thrown around today. First of all, thank God we have it, because there are many people with it. But I don't think anyone's confused. It's also been so loosely used that people today use, I have a mental health issue, for something that people 25 years ago said, I'm a little inconvenienced today. That's an extreme change of behavior. And so, how do I balance it? By knowing there's no correlation to it. People putting pressure on themselves because they're insecure is leading to it. Not, like, if someone's insecure, they may think that I have to work 12 hours a day to make $1 million because that $1 million is gonna show them that I'm good. That's not work ethic, that's insecurity. Our issues in the world right now are insecurity and entitlement. You're talking to a DNF student. You know how much I worked in high school? 0. Do you wanna hear something insane? You guys are all pretty young, so this might still be quite easy to remember. I'm gonna say something nice and slow. I need you all to hear this. This is not a hyperbole. This is not a lie. This is not a joke. I did 0 pieces of homework in my entire 4 years of high school. I read 0 pages of a book in my 4 years of high school. So I don't think you should work hard if you don't like it. I think the world's got this super reversed, and it confused all of you. It confused everyone. Don't burn yourself out. Don't even do it. What do you, people are looking at the cause, not the root. We created entitlement, which created insecurity. We are a global power. The world is unbelievably ridiculous. Do you understand that if you're on this Zoom right now, how luxurious your life is? But you're gonna focus on it not, because you're gonna see a TikTok that says, Gen Z can't be as successful. People are fucking, as their parent, like, they are pushing bullshit on you.
That's quite a thought. Thank you so much, Gary.
You're welcome.
Pass it to Jimmy.
It really, just to finish the thought, it's really fucked up. Like, the thought that you work yourself into, work is a byproduct of what's actually inside of you. It's not the fucking root. There's only 2 people that work super hard. The people that fully love it, and they'd rather do it. I was in the office till 10:30 at night last night, because it's more fun for me than going skiing or doing karaoke. And then there's the reverse. The people that are so fearful and so insecure, they think just like getting straight A's in school, by working 12 hours, it's gonna fix it. They don't know themselves. And what's really sad is it's convinced a lot of people that don't try. That's real fucked up. Our prosperous society of the last 30 years has taught people indifference. And indifference leads to depression. If it doesn't matter, the fuck are you doing? All of it matters. Everything matters. Fucking 8th place trophies. I'm gonna be historically right as fuck about 8th place trophies. Just putting it on the record. Will be heralded when I'm dead.
What advice you would give someone, or how to best go about finding that passion? And I think that for me, it's not about a timeline, it's just like eventually finding it. So how do you think is the best way to go about that? And how Vayner can I could use Vayner to my advantage in finding what that might be.
So Vayner is a place that's willing for you to like switch from media to like client, from client to analytics, so it's huge. So doing things for, you can't be like too squeaky about it. Like if you decide to go into project management, do that for a year, then you can maybe talk about like 6 months later, so you're in it for 18 months. To your point, like if you discover it by the time you're 35, you're gonna win. So that's like real, and like I know that's like crazy because when you're 22, 35 seems like 1,000. So if you keep that in mind and you use Vayner in 2 ways, being able to move if you feel like you haven't found it, and by being social and like doing things, like you should be signing up for classes. Like you need to like, people are like, I can't find what food I like. I'm like, go eat food. Like if you were to ask me like, how do I know, Gary, what my favorite food is? I'm like, Haley, by eating shit. Like you've got to go eat oysters and sweetbreads and uni and tacos and banana. Like you have to eat shit, right? Same with this. Like you should be spending, like people who really dwell or are concerned, or on the flip side, are passionate and excited about finding their thing, well, you've got to find it. So like, cool, you have your day job at Vayner, but then join every club, everything that's here, the softball team, the this, and then like push yourself, like go do a ballroom dancing class, right? Take a course on Coursera for like accounting. Like unless you're tasting, you don't know.
Mm-hmm. How do you handle rejection on a personal basis? I know that you said like giving no fucks, like not giving a fuck is the key to do it all, but how do you really go into having that mindset? Like how do you build that?
By knowing I don't have control.
Yeah.
Right, Gracie? Like I'm not the client on Pepsi, or I'm not the viewer of my video, or like, it's all based on humility. This is so fun for me to say. I wish there was a God of humility and she sat down right now and showed all of our scores. I'll bet my life that I'm the most humble person in here. But nobody would think that, they would think the reverse. I think people do not understand how much lack of humility is running through their body. As if you should be taken seriously. I love when people are like, yo, I should be taken serious. I'm like, why? I had somebody come in pretty hot from the creative team, was like, my ideas are not being taken serious. I'm like, okay. I was like, are you on social? They're like, yeah. I'm like, show me. They showed me all their social. I'm like, I would never take you serious. You're horrible at content. Not because of my opinion, because none of your shit does anything. We lack humility. The reason I can deal with it, Gracie, is because I don't think I'm special. Even as Garyvee now, the way my brain thinks about it is like, cool, that's what I've done every day before today.
Right.
But today my idea or my thing might be bad. You know? Mm-hmm. The ability to deal with rejection is completely predicated on your relationship with your own humility. You'll love this one, I'll end it on this. Yes, I don't give a shit about other people's opinions, but I also don't think my shit's right.
I like that.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing I would tell you is, I can tell you for sure, many of you are incredibly over audacious without having done anything yet. And I say that not as a razz, I say that to liberate you and make you happier. You know, it's a good thing.
Very good thing, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a good thing. Like, please have unlimited conviction. I hope one of you have my job in this company one day. I literally pray to God that I'm looking at the future CEO of VaynerX. But, you know, you gotta get there first. I just enjoy the process of being a giving and nice person. It like really feeds me. It's really how I identify. And so I, you know, that's what I've come to realize really triggers me. And like when do I get really upset? It's when I'm disappointed in myself, when I maybe didn't show up as strong as I could for someone or do something. Like I don't get upset when I lose in business, you know, when I lose money. Like that's not the places I get caught up on. I get caught up emotionally, you know, deeply when I try, you know, like I just think a lot about like coming through. I also think I'm a little bit over the top on it. I'm trying to get a little bit better at this. But like I have a little bit of a superhero syndrome that gets me into trouble, but I'm very focused on that. So that's kind of where I think my life's about. Do you know what I mean? I definitely don't think my life's about being a great entrepreneur making money. Or if I buy the New York Jets, a lot of people think that's my dream. It was my dream when I was in 4th grade when I came up with it, and I've said it pretty much every day or at least every week since, but it is beyond not my dream. It's my enjoyment to try to achieve. I love the journey of trying to get the Jets. It's a challenge, it's a game. It's like beating Zelda, you're wearing a Zelda shirt, trying to get to Ganon like in 1986 and beat Zelda when it came out was every middle school's obsession in my growing up era. And that like the burning the bushes and moving the rocks was the fun part, not actually winning the game. And that's who I've become as a human.
So you would say that your character, in terms of who you see yourself to be, is what
Yes,
you.
but I'm very cautious to not be delusional and paint a picture of myself that I want to paint. It's why I pay so close attention to the people that are actually interacting with me on how they feel.
Okay, because like for example, so I'm a teacher, and I really resonate with what you see about the school system and how kids, I guess they need to be, well, not need to be, but like what type of education that would benefit them the most. And so I often give advice to kids, and so I'm very, I guess, well equipped to do that. However, I feel that, I guess, due to my many insecurities, I feel that I'm fake whilst I'm doling out the advice. Like I know
because you don't. Is that because you feel like you don't live it, or do you think it's just a full framework of just actual insecurities?
I think it's both, actually.
I think, look, let me use sports as an analogy. Some of the greatest coaches in the history of sports did not play the sport. And so, there's a lot of things that I see as very clear observations because I consume watching people that I have not lived, that I'm more than happy to talk about as a hypothesis and an opinion that I think is a good idea. You predominantly see a different version of me, so does the world. I will do that in real life more because it's a safer space. In a public life, I really do talk a lot about the stuff that I know. That's why most of the books are very marketing specific and things of that nature. But I have a lot of, passions about perspective and confidence and insecurity. But the fact that we're even at a time in the world where you can speak openly about being insecure, that was unheard of a man saying that 30 years ago. We've destigmatized a lot of things. Do I believe, like an earlier call we had, that we've gone too far and stuff? Yes. I believe in our destigmatization and acceptance. We've created many over-the-top, too far extremes of entitlement, and we haven't found our balance. There's a reason that this book's cover is purple. It's because the world of politics has gone too red and blue, and I love purple. There's a reason that my kid's book is literally called Meet Me in the Middle, because if you're overly being eager and ambitious is remarkable. But if you're overly eager, it's out of balance. Being patient is my most favorite thing to tell everyone. But if you become obnoxiously patient, now you're going into a word called, one of my least favorite things, which is, an extreme version is complacency, right? And so, I think that what I'm hearing from you is, first of all, self-awareness, which is massive because that's step one. I wasn't able to start getting better at candor until I saw that it was a weakness. So you're already further along than many people on earth, right? Next, I can tell you, look, that's just you beating yourself up again. My brother, let me give you some real love here. The amount of people that are willing to go on a very big platform on the internet and say to the world, my many insecurities, is further along in their journey than most people on earth. All right, so that's number one. Number two, the next thing you do, one of the things, if you listen carefully to my content, sounds like you do enough that this might resonate for you, but definitely for some of the people here, is I often hedge a lot of things with words. I'm like, if I, or sometimes I believe, or I've heard, or, so one of the things when you're telling kids advice, you could say, look, I actually was never great at this, but you should do this. And I'm even working at my age of getting better at this, instead of saying you should do this. That's how you eliminate your worry of being a hypocrite or being fake.
Yeah. Yeah, because I find that a lot of times when I am offering advice, it's from many sources, yourself included. And so I know there's validity to all of it. It's just, as you said as well, it's hard living it as well.
Of course.
Because, for one thing is, I know, I love your quote about, being realistic, and it's just, just being real negative. But because I've come from a background of just being cynical and negative all the time. And so I know I'm trying to be positive. I still quite can't get there.
Of course, because it's, you know, that upbringing, it's so ingrained in you, either DNA or environment wise. But again, brother, you are such a fucking inspiration for me, Drew. I'm so happy right now. You don't even know what's actually happening. You are helping so many people right now and yourself. Like, do you understand that you're doing the only thing one can do? You're doing the only thing one can do if they were born into a cynical or negative environment or DNA structure. You're trying to get out of it instead of dwelling in it.
Okay.
It's incredibly inspirational, bro.
Thank you for that. And I guess it leads to the whole gratitude thing as well, because like I feel that I should be very gracious with. I'm feeling a lot of. I mean, I think I feel it. I'm not too sure about it. Because I've been told before that trying to chase gratitude is not really the way to go about it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's virtue. It's not like I'm trying to be like a saint or anything. It's just like, it's just genuine enjoyment of like positivity as an oxygen stream. You know, like I don't like to put labels on things. Like I don't like to over educate on these things, meaning like sometimes we get over philosophical. Like I don't know, like someone saying, like it's almost like people trying to outthink each other. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you see the thing going on LinkedIn? Yeah. Okay. You know what I mean, Drew? Like that's almost everyone out philosophicaling each other. Like, you know, like I get it. Like the deepest state of virtue would not be that. Like I understand how that could get there, but like let me say this. It is never a bad idea to try to be a good person. like what version of life is that, right? That's being a fake good person to cover up a insecurity or to get someone in a bad way on a surprise. That's bad. But if your intent is good, then that's as good as it fucking gets. Don't think in the terms of standing out. Think in the terms of providing value.
Providing value, yeah.
You know what I mean? Back to, you've been listening a little, like we talked to Joey Bats, Vegas, your rivals there, like the way we talked to that lady in the UK. Like too many people are like, oh, we're gonna stand out from all the other, you know, soccer teams, or, you know, like it's not about that. The way you accomplish the standout, the way you accomplish the happiness, it's all the same shit, which is how do you bring value to people, right? This book was originally called Jab, 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 Left Hook,
right?
Which was a follow-up from a book that I wrote 10 years ago, which is what I was just telling you to do, which is give value, give value, give value, and then you can ask if the Utah Club puts out great videos, you know, learning videos of how to start your soccer journey, highlight videos that people think are rad and are escapism, and then you ask for people to tune into the game on ESPN Plus or to buy tickets, you're gonna convert better because you brought value.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, Eric, that are gonna buy this Fundle book today because it's a thank you, consciously or subconsciously, for the value I've provided for 15 years.
Right.
And because they think they're gonna get value, right?
Right. No, that's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. That's why I bought the book. I asked it for a Christmas present back in last Christmas, and figured out that it was barely going to be released right now. So yeah, I mean, I'm just grateful to be on here, Gary. And I mean, I kind of, like I said, I take everything to heart from what you say when it comes to, you know, pursuing what you love, not chasing the clout, not chasing the money, you know, chasing happiness, true joy.
Oh, it's always happiness. Like, look, money and clout, slang for reputation, potentially at its best form. Those are good things. Having good reputation, having money, they're not bad things. It's just not easy to sustain them if you're not in a good place.
Right.
Why do so many millionaires burn out and go into addiction or lose their money? It wasn't sustainable because they weren't in a good place with themselves. There was never a time I didn't feel that I would be feeling like this. But I think that has to do with this weird obsession of simplicity that I had at a very young age. My mom lost her mom at 5. My dad lost his dad at 15. I would argue that the majority of my childhood, I was scared my parents were gonna die. And so every day I was just like grateful that nothing bad happened.
It's all a bonus.
Yeah, and so I think that I was just focused on really heavy shit as a young child. And so, yeah, like I never, ever, this is actually, I don't think I've ever said this. I've never strived for happiness. It's just always been there. You know?
Yeah.
I've never thought in my life. It's just so interesting. This moment's fun for me. I've never had the perspective of like, one day I'll be happy. It's always been, I'll always be happy, no matter what happens. Because every day that I've been given that's been good is good, like it's good. And I'm ready for adversity and I'm ready for challenges. This is the key. We started with this, with sports. I lost so much so early because I played so much and competed so much and got into fights. It was the 80s, we fought in Jersey. I really think that I got fortunate, and I think that that is the driver for me of why I do what I do. There's probably a good mix of guilt and gratitude that makes me want to be Garyvee for people, because I know how blessed, just like you at 13, when you were somewhere in Asia and you went back to Australia, like, wait a minute, I'm really fortunate. I think I've always known that my chemicals were just a little bit more right here. I didn't have the physical shit that you had, and the beauty, by the way, and some other stuff.
I would have fight you, no chance.
But this shit, yeah, this shit, like, I've never been confused that I'm in the Hall of Fame on, and this shit, you know, and this shit. Those two things, I just think I'm blessed and I'm grateful, and that's how I navigate my life.
So on a lighter note, well, I know you're into pickleball.
Yes.
But that's not the question. So when you are going to buy the Jets one,
yes,
we know that. What's your first move to get the Lombardi Trophy? Remember, this is going to go a lot of places.
Listen, I'm so prepared for this question. I've been thinking about buying New York Jets since I was probably in 3rd or 4th grade. That was about the time I realized I was unlikely to play for them, because up until that point, that was the dream. I'm going to audit the shit of the organization. I'm going to buy the team. And then the next day, I'm gonna meet every person, from the person that's been there for a week, that's in concessions at the stadium, to the person drafting and the general manager. And I'm gonna meet every single person. And I'm gonna do what at that point in 30 years, I'll be 78, I'll do what I've done for the last 55 years professionally, which is audit the human beings that I'm around and understand, are they good at the craft? But more importantly, are they good in their soul? And I'm going to make decisions based on that audit, and then make some changes, inevitably, build some people up that I see something in that are not in the best place, and double down on the people that I think are wonderful already, and build the most epic, human-based, capable football organization in the world, and that will directly correlate in us winning a Super Bowl.
What a plan.
Yeah, I mean, you know, back to like the whole point of my life, honestly, I'm not even sure if I'm gonna be happy when I buy them. Chasing them is everything. Like, the enjoyment I have right this second, thinking about it, trying it, the business call I had in the parking lot before I walked in, that's important. Like, it's all little pieces to get there. But I weirdly think when I get there, it's I'm already like worried about it.
You'll never stop, your mind.
No, I won't. And I'll obviously care about other things, and I'll be in a different part of my life, the back half of my life, but it's the chase. It's always been the chase for me. The chase is like everything.
And like, how do you balance that with like your normal life? So kids.
Yeah, of course.
You know, like how do you do that?
By not overjudging myself. There is no balance.
True.
Who gets to decide? You?
There's no work.
You, me? Yeah. There's only there is work-life balance, but it's individual. For every one of the people that are watching and listening, them and their family today. And then in a year, it changes again. And then in 6 months, it changes again. Life moves. What looks like work-life balance. So I'm not trying to achieve work-life balance based on the world's current definition of it. Because 30 years ago, the definition of it was very different than it's gonna be in 30 years. So how do I do it? Intent. I just want to make the people I love as happy as possible to the best of my ability. But I also know that if I don't make myself happy, it's game over.
Well, interesting you said this, because I did, I spoke with Jay Shetty, and he said that if you don't have time to recharge yourself, you can't make the other people around you, happy at all.
The number one observation I know, and I have a family that's pretty unique. I have plenty of family members that are super, super optimistic and happy, and plenty of close family members who are incredibly cynical and not as happy. And there is just one through line on it all. Whoever likes themselves most is given sunshine, and whoever doesn't like themselves most is given darkness. And so a lot of times people try to do nice by others and don't realize that they're building resentment toward those people, which then flips and then they start going dark. You have to be in a place where you're looking at yourself. The other thing is, most people listening and watching are not gracious enough to themselves. This concept of beating yourself up for what you're not just kills me.
Yeah.
Like, every one of us in this room and everyone listening is good at stuff and not good at stuff.
Yeah.
And why we choose what we put on a pedestal and not, when people are like, you're the great, I'm like, I'm a good businessman, I'm happy, I get it, I'm a good businessman.
You deserve a bit more credit than that.
Yeah, look, I think I have an old soul and I have some wisdom, I get it. But still, like, let's play it out. You and I live a unique life where we are publicly known.
Yep.
And one day, unfortunately, it's gonna be a wrap.
Yes.
And what's gonna happen? We're gonna get 24 hours, if we're lucky, on some love, on whatever social media is on that. Our family will care more for a little bit, but then all of them, family included, are gonna have to wake up in a year, fans in 24 hours, family in 3 to 6 months, and everyone's moving. And so, why I say that is, like, if you're gonna be dead forever, and you weren't born for a long time, and so in this little window that all of us have, why not try to fight for enjoyment? And I'm very passionate about that. I still, to this day, would argue that I try too hard to stay in the dirt. Like, I don't put driver or private or stuff on a pedestal. I put the process on a pedestal. I put kindness and civility to other human beings on a pedestal. Like, I don't mind, I don't judge, or I'm not confused why people want things. I just don't think my life is better with it. I think my time is more efficient.
Yep.
I understand why it's good to have some things for time, which I value, so I understand it. But I don't need anything, Nick. Like, I think that's the thing that I'm spending time thinking about now, is I don't need anything.
I resonate with that. Like, I look back from where I started and now I've got everything I need, and I feel the same way. I don't need anything. Like, sitting here interviewing you and talking with you is, never thought that would be happening, and it's just, I resonate with it a lot, and it kind of gets my next.
Let's stay on that. Let me ask you a question, just as we chop it up, because since I do a podcast, I know how to do it too. Like, on that note, I believe that most people need stuff for other people, not themselves. I actually think deep down, none of us need anything else. Like, you need a little bit of love in your life. Obviously, you need a roof over your head and some food, but basics. The main concept of day trading attention is trying to use the concept of day trading, which is really on the second of the day, buying and trading stocks second to second, buying a stock and selling it a couple minutes later. Very different than buying a stock and selling it a year later. Day trading day to day, like transacting second to second, moment to moment, and layering that on the concept of attention. So the concept of where are the eyes and ears of society? More and more TikTok and Spotify, less and less the radio in your car and network television. By creating that framework, day trading attention, I'm able to give the thesis to everyone that I'm living in, which is the people in the world who most understand where the attention of people are, AKA these 10 to 15 social networks and streaming services that are eating up a vast majority of attention, and layering the ability to be good at it, day trading, AKA how do you make ads for it or content for it, and how do you spend media to amplify it, and recognizing that it's changing day to day, week to week, month to month. So you can't just have a good strategy today and then think it's gonna work for the next year sets up my thesis in a real way. And more importantly, I'm not guessing. This is what I've been living for the last 15 years. This has been the landscape for the last 3 years post-COVID of every single business and person around the world, from China to Sydney to Vancouver to Brazil. And I think that people need to recognize how big the stakes are, because the ones that don't know how to day trade attention going forward will continue to lose market share. You know, it's funny, I debated calling this book Underpriced Attention, not just day trading attention, but day trading attention I think captures the macro thesis more. When you double click into it, one of my favorite things in day trading attention, actually let me rephrase, the thing that I have spent the last 15 years on every day is finding underpriced attention. Underpriced attention is exactly what it sounds like. It's you're getting more attention than the efforts you're putting in or the money you're putting in to achieve that attention against everything else you could do. So for example, always in social media, because of the way the algorithms work, there are opportunities for underpriced attention. At the moment of this recording, one of them is TikTok Live. Not posting on TikTok, but going on TikTok Live because of the way that product works, which is the longer you're on, more people discover you, which is the reverse of how Instagram works, because when you go live on Instagram, everybody who follows you is notified. They all come on, which means 5% of your audience usually, and then they start to leave because it's hard to keep people's attention forever. And there's no mechanism to share your live so easily, so you're not achieving more people. TikTok, you go on, the longer you're on, the more TikTok sees that and showing you in people's feeds, even people that don't follow you, rendering you to find new audiences. That will probably change over time. TikTok's doing that right now. Just like 5 years ago, if I made a video on Instagram that had a white border at the top and a title and a video that was under a minute, more people would see that. It was a tactic creatively that rendered the opportunity. The cost of that attention was zero in media dollars, and I kept working it to make the cost of making those videos lower and lower, hence that became underpriced attention. The organic reach of an Instagram video post under a minute. The organic reach of going live on TikTok. There are many versions of this. On LinkedIn, for high value B2B clients, the media, even though it has a set floor of how much it costs, is still an underpriced attention because the value of a B2B client is very high, and the ads on LinkedIn, if you do LinkedIn ads well, to reach a B2B client is a very good deal versus buying a $100,000 booth at a trade show and trying to get those same clients. Underpriced attention. Influencers. There are very famous influencers who would cost $100,000 to do a post for you, and you may get 1,000 customers. In that same sector, you might find an up-and-coming influencer who costs you $1,000 and gets you 1,000 customers as well, because their audience is emerging with them. They've never seen them promote an item, and thus your influencer ad with them was underpriced. Basically, every single action a business does to get customers or a human does to get attention is either properly priced, overpriced, or underpriced. As you can imagine, it is my great obsession, both personally and for the clients I work with, to be great at underpriced, to stay away from overpriced, and to round out underpriced with appropriately priced. There's so many ways to attack this, and I know for a lot of you, it might even be the first time you're grasping these concepts, and I think you take a step back, and I actually think the first thing you need to do is focus on self-awareness. You know, if you don't know yourself, you're gonna probably struggle with this complex framework, meaning, how do you find underpriced attention? How do you get good at day trading? Well, you have to first decide how are you judging it. So before you see how many followers you get, or how much reach your posts get, or how many people buy your product, you have to make the leap yourself before the action. Meaning, you're gonna make the video or the picture, and then the thing's gonna happen, so you're not gonna know. Now the question becomes, do you think you're good at judging this, or are you not? If you're not, that's actually good. One of the tenets of being good at day trading attention is humility. I've been doing this my whole life, and professionally for over 20 years, and refined for 15. And yet every day when I post, even though I look at all the math, all the quant, all the qualitative feedback, every day that I post, I know that I might not be right. And many of the posts on social or the ads that I run for my businesses, whether in the wine business for my family or the businesses I work with at Vayner or for my personal brand or for VFriends and companies, many of them don't hit the mark. It's the humility to know that's okay and I can learn from it that is really the massive part of the strategy. Having the humility and the process to make as many ads, and this is not spray and pray and throw against the wall and see what sticks. This is understanding which segmentations you're gonna make content for, do the best you can, lower or mitigate the risk on the costs and the media, and then look at the outcomes and decide what to double down on or triple down on or what to eliminate. So humility is at the centerpiece of being great at day trading attention. The other thing that's at the centerpiece is creativity. Are you creative enough to have new, fresh ideas? And that's where humility comes in. Don't be scared of a wacky idea or something that's never been done before or a sentence that's never been uttered. Those may be the exact things that unlock the opportunity. And then more importantly, have you put in the hours to understand the craft? Do you understand the algorithms? Do you understand the best practices? You know, the times to post, how long should the video be, thumbnails, things that, you know, I think more and more people can look into and are realizing are more important than maybe we realized in the past. And so making a commitment to the craft, these are the real tenets to a good strategy. Once you understand them, one of the reasons I always get scared when people try to outsource their marketing or this behavior is if they themselves don't understand it, how are they gonna be able to judge their employees or their agency partners? That's why I get compelled to write books like this. I wanna get people at least at a ground level of understanding because these are complex new terrains. Look, it's incredibly hard to measure success along the way when you're building brand, because that would be like you asking me or the world asking me, how do I measure if I'm a good parent? The reality is, I think we all know this, you're gonna get more insight in 25 years than you're gonna get every day, but there's gonna be proxies along the way. If a child is born and when they go to kindergarten at 6 and they punch everyone in class and they scream and run out of the classroom, something happened along the way in the first 6 years that led to that, right? If at 15 they're beloved and they have a lack of anxiety and they're smiling and they're always happy and they're beloved by everyone, I'm gonna believe that there was some good deposits put along the way for the 15 years to let that happen. When you're building something meaningful, like a brand, like a child, it's very hard to measure along the way, but there are proxies. There is things you see at 2 years old, at 4 years old, at 6 years old, at 8 years old, at 10 years old. And you're looking at your child and you're seeing how the world is accepting them and how their happiness is, how their accountability is, something we've lost along the way, you know, and other things of that nature. Same with brands. You know, when I was building my father's wine business, the way I was noticing if we were building brand was based on the fact that I had to spend less money on advertising every year, but was achieving higher sales every year because after 5 or 6 years of good work, I could see that the word of mouth and the reputation, the brand, was carrying the business. And so, you know, I think at the end of the day, you have to measure brand based on business results, but you've got to play that out for a long time. The problem is, along the way, it's very hard to fully figure it out. And so you've got to decide what your measurement sticks are. I think looking at the business's health every 3 years is very appropriate. If I came in to do full brand for any business in the world, big or small, and the boss she said to me, Gary, I'm gonna measure you on brand in one way. Is our business up in 3 years? I can handle that. Of course, anything can happen. I could be selling something and then there was a big innovation. The world might change. There's things that can happen, but usually they don't. And within that framework, if I'm getting 3 years, I feel like I can play that game. And of course, we could put reports and justifications along the way, but getting 3 to 5 years to prove it out, that's really the punchline of brand building. Just wanna add that I really believe this conversation, more than anything we might touch on, is very important and very challenging. I am not confused that people that are in Fortune 500 land are like, that's great, Gary, but if I don't hit the MMM or the MMA or the way we measure brand internally every year, I don't get my bonus, and by the second year I might get fired. Respect. I also want to tell all the entrepreneurs, the creators, the influencers, the small business owners, you're gonna have to make those judgment calls on brand building in your gut, in your subjective opinion, every 6 and 12 months. And I'm aware that many people have tried to do a brand exercise, don't see sales results right away, and never do brand exercises again. Never sponsor something again, never do a commercial again, never do social media again. I get it, but please understand the difference for all the smaller players, the difference between brand building and sales.